So when doing a punch biopsy, the first thing that you want to have is your tray set up in an organized way. And ideally, you already see here, if we can zoom in, that the suture is set up so that if you have bleeding, you don't have to muddle with the suture right away, while the bleeding is occurring. Okay, so the next step is to glove, and the focus here is going to be simply a safety exercise. Okay, so this is the lesion that we want. When you're dealing with opening a syringe, okay, first there's air in the syringe. So what I do is make sure, sometimes these things are on loosely, so I make sure that the cap is on tight, that the needle is in tight. I get the air out of the syringe now, and so okay, before I get the air out of the syringe, you have to uncap the needle. If you uncap the needle this way, it's stuck, and so you can uncap it and stick yourself, so that's no good. So you have to uncap it like this. Now it's off. But now this is protecting from water squirting out or medicine. So now I'm going to push the stuff out. We see, unfortunately, this needle is clogged. So now I have to take this needle off. Okay. And it comes right off like that. I have a new needle. And again, I twist it. You feel a click. There's a little click there. And now it comes off, okay? You'll note that my palm is parallel to the needle, my fingers touch the cap, and my pinky is touching the back of my hand and never leaves my hand, because that defeats the purpose of protecting yourself. So the hands are stationary, this finger and thumb move up, and then it can come off. Okay, and we said that we were going to take the stuff out this way. Okay. Because otherwise it squirts out and gets in everyone's eyes. Okay. Now, little pinch. I'm putting my finger behind the mole, and I'm never putting my finger in the way of the needle. I'm putting my finger behind the needle. Little pinch. I just insert to the bevel and raise a bleb, much like one would do a PPD. If you want to then go a little bit deeper, you would angle it and adjust downward. Okay, now activating the safety mechanism of this, again, my hands are touching, and I just let this go up. And I don't even transfer anything. It was from here, and it's still in my hand, and I activate the safety mechanism, okay? If you activate the safety mechanism like this, where your hands are not touching, sometimes, and it happened to me, the hand slips up, but this gets stuck, but the hand slips up, and you stick yourself. That's no good. So I always just push up, up. Okay. Next one is straightforward. You just make sure you get the whole lesion. And here I put pressure on the top gently and circle with one hand. And you can go as deep as you need to. Okay. This one, there's nothing to it. But notice that there's a little bleeding, and I'm not rushing, even though there's bleeding, although my nurse will blot, so that's great. Okay, next one. Now, Jenny's going to have the scissors. Okay, so you grab the skin with the forceps, you poke the needle through. Now, some people go through both. On the first stitch, when there's a big hole, I like to go through the center. Never blot while there's a needle there, but if you had to, you would blot with your instrument so I can't get stuck. Okay? Fine. Now, notice, I'm going to grab the tip of the needle. If I grab the tip of the needle, then I can safely grab the base of the needle, and I can reload in front of my fingers. I'm never exposing my fingers to the needle tip. Okay, I'm holding the suture material out of the way, grabbing again, and coming up with a circular motion. And again, I'm grabbing the tip of the needle, grabbing the base of the needle, and then tying the knot is straightforward. You can either move the needle, but I don't like moving the needle because I don't like moving sharp parts, so instead I move the needle driver. Then I grab, and again, to save string, if I move the needle driver, you see how it's pulling the string? So I rather keep the needle driver still and pull this. And now the string is quite long, so I circle it around my hand. Now I can have a nice tight stitch, 1, and again I can move the needle driver, 2, and notice the nice square, beautiful square knot that we're forming. Boom. Okay, and now cut. Okay, in disposing of the needle, again I was holding it in my fingers and I grab it. You can imagine that if you let the needle dangle, and I prefer to do this with a clean needle, okay, and you're doing this, that it can bite you. So you always, much like you would hold the head of a snake, we say, don't, you want to be in control of the viper this way. And the needle is pointing away from your fingers. It's never pointing towards your fingers or perpendicular to your fingers. It's always this way. In any event, I just finished my stitch. She cut. So again, I put it at the tip. If you need to put it down on the tray, that's great. Now no one gets stuck. And now I'm done with the procedure, so I'm going to directly, not with my hands, but with the needle driver, drop it here. Now, let's say there's a lot of gauze on the tray, and I don't know who was here. Never sort through it with your fingers, because if there's a sharp on the tray, that's no good. You see there's a sharp that I forgot about. We clogged the needle, right? So let's say, this were open, and it was covered. So, and I go like this, and boom, you're going to stick yourself. But if you just check with an instrument, you say, aha, I found all the sharps. So here's a sharp, here's a sharp, here's a sharp, and you can dispose of everything. Okay, now we're done.
Okay.